The victim inside Lynch Arena, and then we have just received word that there was a third victim that is now deceased at the hospital. We have 3 people that were also injured that are at the hospital. I have no further update on them. It seems like this is a targeted event and it may have been a family dispute, but we are still investigating, still very early hours, so we're just trying to kind of get all the information. We asked if anybody has any information out there. Obviously there were a lot of people in the arena at the time that they reach out to Detective Webb at the Pawtucket Police Department to give us any information they may have, any recordings that they may have, because obviously people were recording, the kids were on the ice, so any recordings that they may have, that they obviously reach out to Detective Webb and they provide those to the police department.
Were any children hurt?
Like I said, right now we're just confirming that we do have 3 deceased and 3 at the hospital injured. I don't believe anybody was underage, but at this time, again, we're still at the initial stages, the initial hours, so as the investigation unfolds, we will give more information. We're not releasing anybody's names at this point because obviously we want the families to be able to be made aware of the situation before we release any information to the public about that.
Are you able to say male, female, if the suspect was male?
No, not at this time.
Had the hockey game started?
I believe so, yes. There were high school kids on the ice at the time.
Do you know which schools?
I believe it was Blackstone Valley, Coventry, Johnston. I believe it was a senior night for one of the hockey teams. I'm not sure which one, but it appears that it was a high school hockey game.
Chief, and it happened really quick taking the suspect down. Was it Pawtucket Police that was able to take him down?
When the police arrived, the suspect was already deceased.
Okay, so the suspect was already...
Do you know if the third person who was killed was part of the family?
We wouldn't release that at this time. Again, we're not going to release anything about the deceased or those that are injured until we're able to talk to the families. We want to make sure that the families are aware of what happened before we release any information to the public.
How quickly was the arena evacuated?
Extremely quickly. Obviously, when some of the people inside heard the shots fired, they cleared out. They used the back door. We used some staging areas. We used Rip the Bus. They assisted us with moving any of the kids and any of their families so that we could stage in the area at Walgreens so that people could reunite with their families.
Do you know how many people were inside the arena at the time? Was it a busy game?
I don't know how many, but there were a substantial amount of people inside.
Do you know if the suspect died from self-inflicted gunshot?
Again, as much information as I'm going to give you, that's kind of what I did. Again, we will give more information as it goes on, but again, we're just at the initial stages of the investigation. We're trying to uncover everything that happened. We're trying to speak to the families. Again, with a large incident that happens like this, is a lot of information to gather, obviously a lot of witnesses to talk to. We have several members, you know, again, local police departments, Cranston, Providence, State Police, ATF, everybody came to assist, Lincoln. So we have a lot of coordination that we're doing. So again, we thank our partners, and we're just going to try to gather as much information as we can at this point, and then as the information comes out, we'll forward it to the media.
Can you tell us your name and title, please?
Sure. Chief Gonzalez for the Pawtucket Police Department.
Chief, one more quick question. I apologize, I came in late. There were some conflicting reports, 1, 2 shooters. Was it just one shooter? Or
correct. Yes.
Just one?
Yes.
What is your message to people? This is obviously a very stressful, confusing time, a lot of mixed messaging going around. What's your message to people?
Right. So obviously this was a high school game, so that is very unfortunate. It was a senior night, you know, a time for them to celebrate and to remember. And it's very unfortunate that this happened today. So again, we're trying to offer some services. We'll have we have Rhode Island EMA, we have the federal EMA that out there, and we'll try to offer some services if we can. Obviously, we'll try to connect with the schools tomorrow, see if there's going to be some services offered to these kids that were on the ice through the schools. So we'll do anything we can for the outreach to make sure that these kids are getting some kind of support in the days to follow, because obviously, you know, it's going to all settle in probably later tonight or tomorrow for them.
Chief, do you know if their hockey gear is still inside?
You know what? If it's in the locker room, that's probably where it still is. Obviously, they were on the ice, so whatever they had on them, they left with.
The 3 injured, you said, remain in the hospital?
They are.
Serious condition, or?
At this time, yes.
Do we have an exact time of when this incident took place?
A little before 2:30, maybe like 2:28 is when we received the call. So within a few minutes of that, it was almost immediate. We were actively training at this time, so we weren't too far away. So some of other members that were off today were also training, so they all responded. Anybody that was here for the police department responded immediately. So we were here within seconds.
Do you have a chance to reach out to the interscholastically?
No.
So it's an
No, not yet.
Do you know when you will be able to give us another update?
No. No.
Should we stick around here or go to the auto zone?
So what'll normally happen is Sergeant Georgitis or Sergeant Lefebvre, the PIO, will do more of a draft email later, and then that they'll do a mass email out to all the media outlets, and they'll send it out that way. But for the most part, this is kind of, you know, the initial update, kind of letting you guys know what's happening. I appreciate you guys staying here and waiting. So we just wanted to make sure.
All right, just listening in there to an update from the chief, Pawtucket Police, talking about this. Now 2 people losing their lives at a potentially domestic incident inside of this arena at a senior night hockey game. So that was just coming in here on Live Now from Fox from one podium. And we actually are getting Tina again, the police chief in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, speaking to the media again. Let's just again listen into this here on Live Now from Fox.
Police received a call at about 2:28, 2:30 this afternoon that we had an active shooter at Lynch Arena. Upon arrival, police were met with several people obviously inside the arena, and there was 2 casualties within the arena. The suspect was confirmed as one of those casualties. Later on, we learned that another casualty from the shooting was at the hospital, that they succumbed to their injuries after being at the hospital, and there is 3 additional victims at the hospital that all are in critical condition at this time. It appears that this was a targeted event, that it may be a family dispute. We cannot release the names of the victims because obviously we want to speak to the family, make sure that the family is well aware of what happened before we release that information publicly. We had assistance from multiple police departments that came in to assist, to offer their assistance. Obviously the Attorney General is also there with us now going over the crime scene. We had several people in the building, so we are talking to them, so we're trying to put together the story and the timeline of what happened.
Did this happen in the stands? Can you just describe the layout in there and where this all took place?
So because we're in the initial stages of the investigation, I can't get into detail, obviously. We're still investigating that. We're talking to all the witnesses. Like I said, there were several people within the Lynch Arena because it was a high school hockey game. So we're talking to all those witnesses. We have several witnesses that were here, and then some that we have brought to the police station where we're talking to them there. We also were able to take everybody inside the building, and we reunified them with their families down by Walgreens. We used RIPTA buses to be able to reunite those kids and people in the stands with their families.
Was the shooter related to the other victims? You said a family dispute.
Yes, so because it's a family dispute, I don't know the relationship exactly at this point because it's still initial, but yes, it is family related.
Are you releasing any other information about the other victims, ones in critical, juvenile, adults, any other?
Not at this time until we speak to the families and we get more information.
But the mayor said it was a young girl. Is that correct or not correct?
It was a female, is what we know.
Just a female's all you're saying, no age?
Yeah, no age, we don't know.
Chief, Dan Janney from NBC 10. Can you confirm that the victim is actually the daughter of the suspect?
Okay, so I'm not going to confirm who actually is the casualties at this point because, again, we want to speak to the families and make sure the families are well aware of what happened before we release any information. Again, we're still only at the initial stages. It only happened at 2:30 this afternoon. Again, we went in, like I said, there were several people in there. We have several witnesses that are at the station, so we're going to put it together a story before we release information to make sure that the information's put out there is accurate and correct and there's nobody.
Chief, the 4 victims that are hospitalized, were they hospitalized because they may have been trampled or pushed down, but they actually were not shot?
No, so we have, we have 3 deceased victims, right? We have 3 deceased. The suspect, and then we have 2 victims. And then we have 3 at the hospital that were part of the incident that, no, they were not trampled, that they were shot. Yes.
Was the suspect shot by police or was it self-inflicted?
I'm sorry, there's multiple people.
Oh, good.
So what I can say right now is that that's the information that we're going to put out. We're going to obviously probably have more information as the day progresses. Again, we want to speak to all the people that were witnesses so that we can get an accurate story to put out there. I can tell you that we're probably going to have another press release tomorrow, right? We have a lot of people that we want to talk to today. We want to make sure that we get accurate statements. We want to make sure we put it together. We want to make sure we speak to the families. And again, we have to go to the hospital also. And if we can speak to those victims at the hospital, we obviously want to make sure that we do that also. So that's the information I'm going to give you for right now. And then again, I will give you more information as we get it. But I'm not...
It's a little confusing. Let me be clear. We have a suspect. Is the suspect dead of a self-inflicted gunshot?
So,
Were the police involved?
Again, what I can say is that, no, the police were not involved.
Okay.
What I can say that, again, we're putting all the pieces together. It appears from a self-inflicted gun wound, but we are going to investigate that fully. The police were not involved in that.
Is there, so there's a suspect who is dead, and there are 2 victims, or those teen victims?
Well, I'm not releasing their ages, but it appears that they're both adults.
Are they both related to the suspect?
Again, I'm trying to.
We appreciate it.
That's okay. I know,
I mean, at
and
this
I
point-
want to make sure that with the information we're putting out there, because again, they're family members at home, we want to make sure that we speak to them first before they hear it on the news or in the media. It is very important for us to make contact with the families and get an accurate depiction of what the family dynamics look like so that we can be able to put it out there accurately.
Is there any way that you could do another press briefing later tonight? So because otherwise information gets kind of squabbled that way.
No, we are.
That's what happened in Providence.
We're gonna try. Right,
Okay.
like I said, we're following the police investigation. Right now it's about the families. Right, there were multiple families involved. This was, high school children, so our hearts go out to the families, and we'll give you as much information we can. We know it's important to get it out there, but they want to get it out there accurate so there's no misinformation.
Mayor, are you able to speak to that, just the trauma these people suffer today?
I mean, I haven't seen anybody. I can't imagine. I'm watching some people as they're getting put on buses. So, sorry. There has to be traumatic, right, to everybody. I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody. We're trying to piece it together. They're all being shipped out to have conversations with to keep the investigation going, and we're dealing with the families. We have a lot of our services, family services, the Nonviolence Institute, a lot of our partners. They're all in there. They're doing grief counseling, so we're working close with them as well.
What are some of your concerns when you hear about a shooting inside an arena like this with so many young people?
Of course, when you get the call, you think it's the worst thing, right? And I mean, it's very serious. Having said it, this was an isolated incident in some ways. It's tragic. And you think about that, right? The family, all the resources. We have men and women out there, so your mind goes in all different directions.
Mayor, were any of the players on the ice targeted or hurt in any way?
I don't know that. I know they were on the ice, but I don't know if any of them
But
were
it
on
appeared
the
it
ice.
was in the stands.
Chief, for
Very
that.
clear that it was also live streamed so that other people may have seen this, obviously.
That's what they're piecing together. We're getting through the investigation, yes.
You say that it's an isolated incident, but it's been just 2 months since that tragic shooting on the campus of Brown University. Can you speak to how traumatic it might be for the people in this community to be experiencing 2 mass shootings within such a short span of
I mean,
time?
the fortunate thing is they're not related, but it is very tragic, right? You're thinking about these are high school kids that were doing an event. They were playing, with their families watching a fun time, and it turned into this. So it's got to be traumatic.
Mayor, were there any who stepped in that you know of to help?
So again, I understand that there's live stream out there. It's in the initial stages of the investigation. So if there are witnesses or people that stepped in, we're going to leave that information will be confidential until we speak to them. But at this point, what I can tell you is that there were several people in there at the time. Again, yes. I'm trying to see him over it, and it's a little difficult. You guys have it a little higher, but okay. So obviously there were people inside, so I can say that people did assist. But as to the level of the assistance, again, we want to speak to everybody to make sure that we have an accurate statement before we put it out there. Because unfortunately, if we put information out there and it's not exactly accurate, and it was, again, live streamed only for the sense that so that other people could watch the hockey game. So again, that information will come out a little later.
And Chief, you had said families plural involved or just one family?
No, I believe it's just one family.
Chief, have you reached out to all the schools? Because there was like 6 schools out there between the co-ops out there.
So again, we have been on the scene the whole time. As the coaches know, so I'm assuming that the coaches would have reached out to the schools because obviously, I guess with hockey, it's more regionalized. So it's multiple schools that are playing for one team. So the coaches are there, and I'm sure that they made the schools aware. But personally, we haven't reached out to the schools yet. We will, obviously, but we have been doing in the middle of the investigation.
And as the information comes out.
Is the suspect a male or a female? Because there was some confusion from people who actually witnessed this.
Yeah. So again, that's about the extent of what we're going to be able to release at this point. We will give more information as it comes out later today, and then if we can do a press release tomorrow once we've been able to speak to all the witnesses, because again, there was many people inside the arena. We have to speak to all of those people that were in there, give statements. Even if they have nothing to add, we still have to make that attempt and the effort to speak to them to make sure that we have all the
So
information.
this is
okay?
over. No
Thank you
danger
very
to
much.
community.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, you're just listening in there to the Pawtucket Police Chief Tina Gonzalez and also the Mayor Don Graven speaking about this incident. A tragic. It was a senior night for a hockey game in just outside of Providence, Rhode Island, turning tragic. They're saying there are 3 individuals deceased, 1 being the suspect and 2 victims. 3 others remain injured at this hour as this high school hockey game was in progress. That happened around 2:30 local time there. They didn't really have very much information in terms of what's going on, just that it was a domestic, a family incident of some kind. FBI Boston putting this out here on social media on LiveNOW from Fox, talking about it, saying the FBI Boston is aware of the shooting at this Dennis M. Lynch Arena in Pawtucket today. Responded to the scene, stand ready to assist our partners at the Pawtucket Police Department and any and all resources they need. At this time, there is no imminent threat to public safety. There has been no request for FBI assistance. However, the public should continue to avoid the area. Our prayers are with everyone impacted by this incident. So again, just a live picture one more time there on the ground in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, a fatal shooting. They're piecing together some of what's going on in this investigation at this Lynch Arena. We'll continue to follow it to the evening hours, likely another update tonight. We'll see if they have any status update on those victims, 3 remaining hospitalized at this hour.